الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه ثقتي وأستعين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الأولين وصل على سيدنا محمد في الآخرين وصل على آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وارض اللهم عن الصحابة والتابعين وتابعيهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. It gives me an honor to be here with these beautiful people, mashallah, beautiful gathering. There is no better gathering than the gathering of dhikrullah. Subhanallah. And there is no better gathering than the gathering of remembering Rasulullah. Subhanallah. Rasulullah alayhi salatu wassalam is the exemplar in our religion. هو الحبيب. Subhanallah. هو المعشوق. Subhanallah. We just heard the beautiful qasida, Nat, from our brothers. And the least one can say, all the qasaid throughout the history, more than 1400 years now, thousands of qasaid in praise of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it is limiting, of course, in 5-10 minutes to say much about Rasulullah alayhi salatu wassalam, but because any aspect of his life, any aspect of his seerah has been detailed, has been written about, many books, mujalladat, in the history of Islam. Seerat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is no man from Adam to the end of this dunya whose life has been written about in detail like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Every aspect, especially after the Bi'tha, when he reached 40 years old till he died, alayhi salam, 63. For those 23 years of his life, every moment has been recorded. The love of Sahaba radiallahu anhum to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made them so peculiar in every aspect of what he did. We know what he did. We know his sifat, his shakl, his figure, how he was physically, in detail. We know, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, how he started the day and how he ended the day. From the moment he woke up, he wakes up in the morning, till the moment he goes to sleep. Every detail we know. We know how he was at home with his family. We know how he was with his friends, his companions. We know how he treated the children and the youngsters. He was so humble. He was so kind. We also know how he treated the animals and nature, and how he cared about animals and nature. And we don't have the time to go through details, but for those who have the time to read, of course, there are some Arabic resources, Turkish, Persian resources, but there are also English resources that one can go and read about his life. And when we talk about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we talk about him as Muslims, of course, with love and respect and taqdeer and ihtiram. But for us, this is an objective thing. We don't talk about him just because he's Rasulullah. Even if you take his seerah and you expose it at the human level, to universal level, any religion, any creed, any culture, you will see that this man, alayhi salatu wassalam, he is there at the top. He is there. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. He had to be there because he is a rahmah for the whole universe. Subhanallah. Not just for us, for the religions, they benefit. There are so many, I'm sure most of you know, so many Christians or Jews or Hindus or Buddhists who read his life and wrote about his life. And it's fascinating what they say. It's wonderful. Even if they are not Muslims, they say this man cannot be but a prophet. Even if they don't do Shahada, they announce or they declare their respect for a man whose life was a reflection of someone who was completely detached from this dunya. He was completely, all his life he gave it to Allah Azza wa Jal, to his companions, to us as well, to us. There is this beautiful hadith, subhanallah. He was sitting once with the Sahaba, and he said, I miss Ashabi. The Sahaba said, are we not your Ashab? He said, I miss my friends. I miss my Ahbab. One of the Sahaba said, are we not your friends, Ya Rasul? He said, no. You are with me. You have seen me. But Ahbabi, Ashabi are the ones who believe in me and they have never met me. Allah. So he is, in his mind, he's thinking about the realities of his life, what is in front of him, but he is also thinking about us, his ummah. That is his ham, that is his worry, that is his priority in life. So when we talk about him, we celebrate his Mawlid, it is the least we do or we can do to say thank you, Ya Rasulullah, for bringing this risala to us and leaving it as al-mahajjatul bayda, as white as snow. He brought the wahi. He did not add a letter to the wahi or omit a letter from the wahi. And he, in Hujjat al-Wada', the last sermon, in Hujjat al-Wada', he said to the people, there was 100,000 people there, most of them the Sahaba. He said, Ala hal ballagt? Have I given you tabligh? Meaning, have I showed you? Have I shown you? Have I not clearly showed every detail of this risala? And then he says, the Sahaba said, Bala laqad ballagt. Yes. And he said, Allahumma fashhad. May Allah, oh Allah, bear witness that I did what you asked me to do. So his life was a life of suffering. He suffered a lot since he was born. He was yatim, as you all know. His father died when his mother was still hamil, pregnant with him. 5 years later, his mother passes away. His grandfather, who took care of him 2 years later, dies, Abdul Muttalib. Then he was poor. Most of his life he was poor. But that didn't matter for him. What mattered for him is that he devoted his life to Islam, so that we get the Islam, the pure Islam, But we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to keep us all in that sphere of pure Islam, of حب الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم, of عشق الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.
नाराए तकबीर,
अल्लाहु अकबर,
नाराए रसालत,
या रसूल अल्लाह,
नाराए हैदरी,
या अली,
नाराए गौसिया,
या गौसिया,
इस्लाम
जिंदाबाद।